Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Daily Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, live from his studio in Utah, Charlie Cook of Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
Right. Utah, Massachusetts, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They're close, right?
Sure. Free America, occupied territory.
Uh, no, seriously, Charlie is seriously coming to us from his home in Massachusetts, not from
Yes.
Utah.
Right.
That's his summer home.
It's my right.
He just hasn't made it there yet this summer.
It's not this summer.
Um,
I got to tell you, I was when you asked me to sit in for Tom, I was for Tom Walls, not Tom Knighton.
mhm.
I was like, hey, it's a training. He does all the training stuff, and I just want to put a little plug in. I was on the Get Off Your Lawn podcast last night
Mhm.
with Brooke Cheney, with Amanda Suffolk, Patrick Collins, obviously John Anderson, and Chris Chang made an appearance as well, and we were talking about training and what to look for in an instructor and what not to look for, and how to all that kind of good stuff. So
Yeah, that when
put a little plug on that.
2 weeks ago when Tom was on, that was our topic was what do you look for in an instructor and do you train up for training? Do you practice before you go to training? And that was the topic then.
Yeah, I went back and checked it out. That was a good show.
What I want to start with, we actually have Massachusetts news. This one off of NRA ILA. Then this confused me. General court to vote on permit overhaul. I thought a court was a judge, and a judge decided. The judge didn't vote. What's up with this, man?
If you're confused about the gun laws in Massachusetts, then people are explaining them very well.
Okay.
So what we have going on here in Massachusetts is after Bruin, the Attorney General, I call her the AG, the anti-gun Attorney General, she and the Rhino Governor came out and said that the Bruin, basically what they said is the Bruin doesn't really apply to Massachusetts because the chiefs are already handing out licenses, so they're not really going to pay attention to the Bruin decision. Then they came out and they said that a prohibited person could also not. Oh my God, there's so many double negatives. They're not an unprohibited person. So they said you can still get an LTC with restrictions on it, but they're lifting all the restrictions, even in Boston and Springfield, which is the two cities that have the highest rating of people that put restrictions and hoops to jump through. They're making all the licenses unrestricted, but they're still leaving the possibility that the chief could decide that you are unsuitable to have a carry permit. And there's, the whole language means things, and words mean things, and words have meanings. Prohibited and not oh God, prohibited and unsuitable aren't the same thing. Suitability and prohibited aren't the same thing. So there's a lot of confusion going on with that.
So basically, Massachusetts is saying, "Screw you, Supreme Court. We're going to do it our way."
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And they've been John Petrolino's been writing some great articles. I think he's written in the last 2 weeks. He's written 4 or 5 articles that are Massachusetts specific about what's going on between the Gun Owners Action League and the politicians, the AG and the Rhino Governor.
Okay.
So it's like much stuff in Massachusetts. It's very confusing. At one point, I remember talking with the director of education at the Gun Owners Action League. He's a good friend of mine. His name's John Green. Mm-hmm. He was saying that you could get denied a license to carry, which allows you to have non-large capacity and large capacity and non-large capacity rifles, shotguns, and handguns, but you could get an FID card. So you still get your Second Amendment with an FID card, but it restricts the things that you can have. Like I said, if you're confused, I'm explaining it really well.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Well, we're not going to go to real America yet. I do want to step closer to real America. I want to go to California next, and this is actually good news. This one comes off of AmmoLand.com. Los Angeles Police Department has stopped enforcing California state law banning high-capacity magazines, according to an internal LAPD email obtained by the Second Amendment Foundation's Investigative Journalism Department. The email was sent Wednesday morning to all LAPD personnel by Commander Ernest Eskridge, Assistant Commanding Officer of the Department's Detective Bureau. Eskridge noted that on June 23rd, the United States Supreme Court vacated the ruling in Duncan versus Bonta and remanded the case back to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals for further consideration in light of its recent decision in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. Because of this ruling, Eskridge said in the email, all sworn LAPD personnel shall not investigate, detain, or arrest anyone for possessing a magazine capable of holding more than 10 rounds unless they are already legally barred from possession of ammunition in the state. In other words, if you're a felon, you could still be in trouble.
Right. Which to me is the thing, whether it's homemade firearms. I can't say these words with a straight face or a straight voice. Ghost guns. Mm-hmm. People say, well, criminals can get ghost guns. Right. They can get them illegally. Well, they can still get them. Yeah, but they're getting them illegally. Well, they shouldn't be able to get them. I get it. Like, how do you make it so that the criminals don't get ghost guns? Or
how do you stop drunks from driving cars? It's illegal.
It's already illegal. I read something, I want to say it was by Charlton Heston, and it said something along the lines of crime, rape, and murder are already illegal. You can't make them more illegal. It's the double secret probation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't possess a high cap magazine, so-called high cap magazine in California, then you can't. If you couldn't possess a firearm, then you can't possess a high cap magazine. Which that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If you can't own a firearm, you shouldn't be able to own the magazine, whether or not it's high capacity or not.
I want to get this up from Michael over on the Facebook side. What happened to the Fifth Amendment? Well, it's still there. It's just that just as the Second Amendment is a second-class right, I think the Fifth and the Fourth Amendments, the United States, a lot of the prosecuting attorneys would like to make those second-class rights as well. Larry says that's precisely why we need to make we need a law making breaking the law illegal. See, Larry gets it.
He could probably come practice law in Massachusetts.
And G-Webs, gun websites. You can take the cars away from all the people, then some of them can't drink and drive. Come on, man, it's easy.
Right. I do like the meme that says, when freedom is outlawed, only outlaws will be free.
Yes. Now I do want to get to Free America. I want to get to good news. This one also off of AmmoLand. The National Shooting Sports Foundation, Firearms Industry Trade Association, updated the industry estimate of modern sporting rifles in circulation within the United States to 24,446,000 since 1990. That's an increase of over 4.5 million rifles since the last estimate was released in 2020, just 2 years ago. So 4.5 million rifles increased in 2 years. 4.5 million in 2 years. That's a pretty hefty increase. And honestly, with the way things are going, we've got a story later about the House. I think we're going to be seeing another spike and another scarcity. And so if you want an AR and you see one in the store, you might want to get it now.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. I know in 2016 when our AG came out and said that anything that looks like an AR is an AR. Um, and as of that day, it was July 16th, 2020. Sorry, July 20th, 2016. The uh, in every place sold out of ARs that day. And I heard there was one story where somebody bought an AR for $1,800 and he took possession of the gun, turned to walk out, and somebody says, "I'll give you $2,200 for it."
Wow.
Yeah. So when I love seeing the articles and the emails from AmmoLand and from all these other places where they're like, "Hey, AR-15s for $750." Like,
Hmm.
un- unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And what's heartening here is I'm going to go back to the Heller decision 12 years ago, the Heller decision. And my brain is not working at top speed right now. I believe it was Scalia, in his opinion, uh, wrote specifically about banning firearms and, well, if they're in common use, you can't ban them. Well, you know, 4 million and 4.5 million in a couple years, and where's the number again? 24.4 million over since 1990. That kind of to me says that's common use.
Yeah, common and frequent, right?
Yes. Uh, I can say the Lathrop household. I'll just say we have more than one. I'll leave it at that. Uh,
Nice.
so we've contributed somewhat to the 24 million. Um, Although not all of them were bought from gun shops. I don't know, you know, that there are some that we have that are private purchase.
Private purchase, right?
So, um, yeah, let's talk about the House because the Democrats in the House Judiciary Committee late Wednesday passed legislation that would ban certain semi-automatic weapons in a renewed push to ban the guns most commonly used in recent mass shootings. By the way, this is off the Idaho Capital Sun. I'm not really familiar with this paper. I don't know if it's left centered or right centered, but this article is certainly left centered. The party line 25 to 18 vote followed recent mass shootings in which the AR-15 style rifles were used in Uvalde, Texas, where 19. Yeah, we're skipping. The chair of the committee, Jerry Nadler, said that more than 100-page bill would place a ban on assault weapons. H.R. 1808 is nothing new, and Congress passed a 10-year ban on assault weapons in 1994. I'd like to remind you what happened also in 1994, Mr. Nadler, if I could have your attention for just a moment. The Democrats lost Congress. Frigging huge, monumental loss. It was historic, the amount of seats they lost in both the House and the Senate. Keep trying, pal. We're paying attention.
Absolutely. It's nice to see they don't call them AR-15 rifles; they call them AR-15 style rifles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, does it have a straight magazine or a banana shaped magazine? You know that.
Right. It is. I was up at the SIG Academy over the weekend for the grand opening of their thing, and I was talking to one of my buddies from Samson. I think it's Samson Manufacturing. They make a lot of accessories, and one of the accessories they had was a finger grip that was about this big. Like, it was big enough you could put it on the end of a barrel. It's not a four-end grip. It legit holds on to like one finger on the grip, and I'm like, all right, this is one of the things that they say they want to get rid of, the rifles with four-end grips. This is like a finger grip. Is the finger grip going to count as a four-end grip? I mean, uh, what is it? A lot of this to me goes back to the shoulder thing that goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Politicians that don't know anything about firearms are making laws against firearms, and I don't know if you've had to have seen. Oh my gosh, I forget who put it out, but there was a guy talking about a pistol brace for an AR, and he's like, it turns into a fully automatic, basically a bump stock. And then there were people that were just going along with this, and you're like, you have to play the game stupid or liar. Are these people stupid or are they liars?
Well, it comes down to it really doesn't matter if other people are buying it.
This is true.
I want to get to a couple of comments in here. George, going on your $2,200 AR that we were talking about a few seconds ago, says $2,200 is just about getting into the price range of the F-22 Raptor that Paul wants. I think I might have to come up with a little more than that for a Raptor. Just a few more dollars.
So here's the game plan. Don't tell Susan. You move to Massachusetts. You buy you can sell 4 firearms per calendar year.
Okay.
So buy 8 ARs, move out here in the fall, sell them before Christmas, sell 4 of them before Christmas, sell 4 of them in January, and then move back to South Dakota.
Then have the Raptor waiting for me at the airport.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
This is a game plan. Susan will go with this. I think she will. She'll buy
and meanwhile, between the fall and sometime after New Year's, I've got to live in Massachusetts.
Yeah, you're used to the cold, man. You're used to the cold.
Yeah, but I'm also used to freedom.
There's that.
Michael says, in New York City, you can't even own a Ruger Ranch Mini 14. It's on the ban list. And that's the Ruger Ranch Mini 14, I'll have to do a Google search here in a second, but that's a wood, that's
stock, yeah.
Yeah.
That is very A-team right there.
Okay.
This is one of these things, I've been teaching classes for a while, and I have a slide of large caliber rifles, and I have an AR with evil features. I have an AR without evil features, and I have a Mini 14. And I say the only difference between the Mini 14 and the ARs are the way they look. One looks like a military rifle, and the other one doesn't. And Americans are into military stuff. We drive Jeeps, we wear camouflage, and we like ARs. Some people even like the Beretta 92s. So people dig that. And I've talked to a lot of people when they got out of the military. The first thing they wanted was a Beretta 92 and an AR because that's what they trained on. That's what they're used to.
There you go. Well, and Hummers are a big deal too,
Oh, yeah.
The vehicles too. But anyway, let me...
I was going to say, I can't remember.
Let me get this comment up. Simon says, train $2,200 AR-15s teaching classes in Utah must play Charlie well.
I got a Utah class tomorrow, Tony.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not buying them at 22. A phrase from Tony that I picked up, I am tactically frugal.
Absolutely. I get that. Next story, and we got to try to get this thing back on the rails. I'm the one that derailed it, by the way. But let me increase font so my older eyes can see this. This off of catalystindependent.org. According to the NSSF, nearly 30%, or 5.4 million, of the 18.5 million firearms purchased in the United States last year went to first-time gun owners. The number's down slightly from 2020's record-breaking gun sales that saw 40%, or 8.4 million, of the 21 million firearms sold going to first-timers. Retailers report that 23% of consumers who bought their first gun in 2020 returned to purchase another in 2021, and that nearly half of first-time buyers inquired about professional firearms training, meaning many first-time buyers quickly became enthusiasts who are serious about gun safety and self-defense. That is probably the best news out of everything we've had today, and I'm targeting that last part, is that many first-time buyers quickly became enthusiasts and they're inquiring about professional firearms training. Nearly half of the first-time buyers this past year. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, a 22 is a gateway drug, right?
It absolutely
So
is.
it's great that people are buying their second firearms and seeking out some training so they can be more proficient. You know, that when stories like the Indiana Mall shooting come out and they start to say, "Hey, listen, you know what? That was a long distance shot. He was 8 out of 10 shots at 40 yards. Can I do this?" Like I've seen, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 people putting up things saying they're doing the uh, Denton, is that his name? The Denton drill.
Yes.
Yeah, the Denton
I
drill.
cannot pronounce his full first name. Everybody just calls him Eli.
Eli,
That's,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, do the Denton drill. From concealment, cold, 40 yards, uh, 40 yards, 10 shots, 15 seconds. Of course, you can only do that once per session, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these are the things that you have to, be prepared for. If he would have not had 8 out of 10 shots, if he would have had 2 out of 10 shots, it would be a poop show for us. He's taken too far of shots. He doesn't have enough training and all that sort of stuff. So God bless Mr. Denton.
Well, and the beautiful thing about that, and I think we're going to be talking about this particular incident, meaning the Indiana Mall shooting. We're going to be talking about it for a very long time. I expect that to come up every show for at least a month or two. But that particular what really strikes me is the best estimate I've heard so far is 40 yards, 120 feet at first engagement. You know, when Eli took his first shot, 40 yards, and he got the first shot, and which caused the bad guy to stop shooting innocent people, which is awesome. If the killer is not looking directly at you, you've got just a second to get that firearm on target, to get that sight picture, to make sure that shot is going to hit where you want. That, and then the rest of the follow up, the advancing on your target, continuing to stay in cover, that's all a part of practice and training. But just good on the guy for that 40 yards. That's under that kind of pressure. That's impressive.
Absolutely.
Let me get to a couple more. Donald Hobson, I want to get this one up there. FBI planning to audit several county sheriff offices in Missouri, CCW lists. Hope they will all tell them to go fish. Wonder how Texas would deal with this. Well, Donald, I got good news for you. It didn't make the show notes today, but there are a few sheriffs, and oh, by the way, the Missouri Attorney General has told the FBI to go pound sand. And there's one Missouri sheriff that has said, "I'll go to federal prison before I'll release that information." So it isn't exactly, now we're not talking a sheriff of a hugely populated county, but if I lived in that county and that sheriff were running for re-election, man, he'd have a lifetime vote from me.
Absolutely.
And Honcho Fett, love that name over on YouTube. One of the best parts of my time managing a gun store is introducing people to firearms and firearm training, seeing them become new gun owners. And Charlie, I want to, since this is, Training Friday, but we're not on a training specific target, I still want to talk to you about this. And we're both on our way next weekend to Rick Ector's women's event, a women's shooting event in Detroit. I've never been there as a trainer before. I have done training with people, and I have helped them take their first shots. The best part of training is when you have the privilege of walking somebody through their first experience with a firearm, and about 5 or 6 shots in, and sometimes it doesn't even take that long. It goes from I'm scared to death of this thing to a grin that goes about ear to ear, and you know you've got them hooked.
It really is great when you do take someone out and they fire their first shots. They get over the initial bang, they get over the front the recoil, and they take the first shots and like this is really cool, this is really fun, and it's great to see that light bulb go off on people. It really is. I remember for me, I just was, when you were talking, I went back to the first shots that I took in August of 2002. It was I can't remember, I can't believe I remember all this, but it was a Smith & Wesson Model 617 10-shot 22 revolver.
Mm-hmm.
And you fire the first shots, and I was like, this is really cool. Do other people know about this? Like, I do people do this? I can't believe this is really cool, and I can't believe I've never done this before. And I was hooked. I told myself I was going to quit drinking for a while to put some money into firearms. It was great, and to see that that smile on someone's face, and you see them be like, "Oh my God, that was really cool," and they hold up their target, and if all the shots are on paper, it was a success. If all the shots are on paper, it was a success,
And I like, I like getting targets that they've got a silhouette on them, but I like the targets that have the Nushers, I like superhuman size silhouettes, meaning the silhouette is bigger than me, and I'm not a small guy. And so that they're as long as they're, again, like you said, they're on paper, but if they can see that all their shots are inside that really big human silhouette, they're going, wow.
What I used to do with people is when I worked at a shooting school, and we'd take people to the range, we'd give them a 10 rounds out of a 617 or a one of the Ruger Mark IIs or something, Mark III. Mm-hmm. They shoot 20 rounds of 22s, and they would get them all in an 8x10. And, we had a little mini silhouette on the target, and they'd get some in the inside the silhouette, and they get some outside the silhouette. And if they get the ones outside the silhouette, like, oh yeah, these ones are really good, these are in the target area, but these are kind of, these aren't so good, they're off to the side. And I would hold it up to my chest, and I would say, okay, they're off to the side, so these shots are okay, but these shots aren't. And I'm like, look at how it fits on my torso. If you had to use this in self-defense with firing 20 rounds, all shots would be in the center of someone's chest.
Yes. You get comment in here. George says, I can hit a bowling pin at 25 yards with my 1911 on first shot. I think I could deal with something at 40 yards, but maybe not under pressure. And George, keep in mind, we're talking about, you want to stop the bad guy from doing what they're doing. You want the bad guy at the very least to stop looking for innocent victims and start paying attention to you, so that you can, you got to make them turn. You want them to stop what they're doing. All you got to do is get a shot on target, period. It doesn't immediately need to be a lethal first shot, although that would be a huge bonus, because that means they've stopped, period, and they're not going to be continuing. But active killer situation, first one, if you hit them in the left buttock and it makes them quit shooting and start looking around to find out what's going on, that's a successful first shot, and then you can get on target with your second one.
I think Clint Eastwood said in Heartbreak, was it Heartbreak Ridge? I don't know. There was an old Clint Eastwood movie, and where he was a drill instructor, and the line was, "Incoming fire has right of way."
I like that.
Right. So incoming fire is right away. So if the bad guy's there, somebody's shooting at him. He doesn't want to keep getting not that he doesn't want to keep getting shot at. Maybe he does. Who knows? But that's where his attention's going to go. He's not going to ignore you. He's going to look in your direction, which might be a good time for you to get off a shot or two and move somewhere else, so that he has to keep looking for you, and you can hopefully get more successful shots.
Yes. And I also want to add, because this is Training Friday, I want to add one more little bit in here. I want to add magazine capacity in there. And that if you've got them to stop shooting and you need to get behind cover if you happen to have made your first shot in the open, it's great to have a 13, 15, 17 round magazine. So they are taking cover. You can continue to put rounds in, put rounds downrange at them, so they have to stay under cover while you're getting to cover. If you've got a little 5-shot 357, that ain't going to work so well.
Yeah. That's me.
All right. Let me, we got a couple more. Yeah. And George and Tony Simon both said that you're right with its Heartbreak Ridge.
Heartbreak Ridge. Okay, cool.
All right. Let me get one more comment in. We're already past. We're 1 minute overtime. So everybody's certainly getting a Magnum episode today. And let me get this comment in here quick. Michael says, a correction officer who teaches Department of Correction employees on firearm safety is charged with murder of a Bronx teen who says he felt threatened after being hit by a water pellet gun. I've never heard of a water pellet gun. I know there's water guns. I know there's pellet guns.
Yeah, so I saw this story. There's a thing, it's Orbeats, I think is what it's called. I'm not sure what the name of it. It looks like an orange sickle. It's orange and white. And what it does is it shoots out little BBs of water. And I talked to someone else that has one of these as well. I want to say it was Janelle Westrom. She had some of these in her store in Davenport Guns in Davenport, Iowa, when I went out to interview her just before I went out to do the Mag 40 class. And I saw this story and I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. So it was some sort of a TikTok prank where people are running around shooting these things. And obviously shooting people and I guess getting the reaction so they can put it on TikTok. But that's not good that the cop thought it was a real gun and returned fire. So,
unless you've not making apologies, not just in my own head, something hits me. It hurts like heck, and I turn and somebody's pointing something that looks that I can't identify as not being a firearm. They're pointing it at me, and I've just been hit with something and it feels like a gunshot. Guess what? I think I can articulate danger there, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. I mean, people have been doing these TikTok videos for a long time. And how many times do you see the video where there's a guy dressed as a clown and scares somebody and a guy pulls a gun on him and then the guy pulls his mask off. He's like, hey, I'm just playing here. It's just we're just trying to have some fun. He's like, don't be playing fun like this. Like, this is not fun. This is not cool.
Yes. All right. We're 3 minutes over now. So, Charlie, on the way out, would you please let everybody know about Riding Shotgun with Charlie and anything else you want to plug, bud?
Yeah, please. Everyone should please come to writingshotgunwithcharlie.com and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel. You can listen to the show in podcast form if you're a podcast listener. You can watch the show on YouTube, on Gunstreamer, on Full 30, and on the OpsLens app. You can read about shows on the Writing Shotgun with Charlie articles in the Armed Lifestyle magazine, which should be coming out pretty soon. And subscribe to that. I've got the most recent shows I've had were Santee. I filmed her in Houston, and I filmed a show with Evan Knappen up in New Hampshire. And this week, I'm going to be putting out a show with Joe Dramisi, who I interviewed out in San Diego last month. So please check it out. I love having people check it out. And if you like it, subscribe to the channel and share it with some folks. It's how we get the stagecoach across America.
Very cool. On my end, I want to remind everybody that does wrap up this week as far as the Daily Bullet. Tomorrow is the weekend show, noon Central Time, and Mike Piwowarski and Cheryl Todd are going to be joining me tomorrow. Charlie's going to be in Utah training, so he couldn't join us, but we may come up with a third co-host by tomorrow. We'll see. If not, it'll just be Cheryl and Mike and me. Either way, it's the Weekend Review show tomorrow, noon Central Time. So, all right, that's going to do it then. Thanks everybody.
All right,
Thanks everybody for